The sun is still below the horizon as Pat Richardson's 6-metre crayboat cuts through a sea tossed with morning sickness. He's a third-generation professional fisher and one of only 80 with licences for the Eastern Rock Lobster.
Getting up every morning, you never really get tired of, throwing the boat in and seeing the sun come up and the whales and whatnot. Yeah, you're out there by yourself sometimes. It's really nice, yeah. Just being on the water.
Today he's pulling traps set close to shore, but far enough out to see whales on the so-called humpback highway. How often do you see them?
Oh, like pretty much every trip, every time you go out in the season, and they're getting more and more, and the season's lasting longer and longer. So yeah, it's good. You'll be working away and you hear it, and next thing you'll see one pop up, and yeah.
Pat Richardson fishes most of his quota in a bigger boat in much deeper water on the mid-continental shelf.
Now, into a couple of months, the lobsters sort of come in a bit closer, and so we'll work them, in a little boat, and then from September, October, November on, we sort of go out a bit deeper. They sort of tend to go out deeper. Just in the last couple of years, around the rocks here has been really good. Yeah, it's been a good couple of years.
Does it ever get too rough to pull the pots?
Yeah, it can do, yeah. Yeah, like today's all right, but much more you wouldn't really want to do it.
The turbulent waters of international trade have been harder to control. China's ban on live lobster exports has played havoc with prices. Industry representative Mark Cranstone says about a third of the New South Wales catch used to go into the live China trade. It's led to a domestic oversupply of lobsters, with the much larger southern and West Australian fisheries now flooding the market.
Probably lost 50% in pricing. Before all this started, we were wholesaling around $70 to $75 a kilo. For that season, it dropped down to $40 a kilo. And when you're leasing stuff in, you lease at the start of the season, and we were paying up to $35, $40 a kilo to lease quota in. So when you're only getting 40, it's not really worth it.
Since the China ban, Pat Richardson has been developing new markets, setting traps for smaller local orders.
Now you've got to sort of pick and choose your time a bit better for your markets. I keep running the smaller traps, just so I can go out quickly, grab a few traps for some customers or whatever, and you're burning 20 litres of fuel or 10 litres instead of 200, 250 in the big boat. And yeah, you can access them quickly. See, that's not a bad lobster. That's probably the fish shops and that, they'll like that sort of size.
More lobster has been a boon for the local restaurant trade. At Ludovic Poyer's on-water restaurant at Lemon Tree Passage, it's a menu staple. Market prices may have dropped, but he says the Eastern Rock lobster is still a super premium product.
If you eat lobster from everywhere else, this one is one of the best, yeah. I think it's still a special occasion for everyone to eat in a restaurant. People love it. They would pay anything for it, if they want it in a restaurant. It could be much more diverse in a menu if you use the whole part of the lobster and things like that. When I cook it, I do 4 different dishes with one lobster to give the value for money for the people.
The Eastern Rock is one of Australia's smallest lobster fisheries, with a total allowable catch of 180 tonnes. It's minuscule compared to the Western Rock lobster fishery's 8,000 tonnes, but it's billed as the most sustainable fishery in New South Wales.
That's our minimum size, which is 104 centimetres.
Yeah.
So that's going to make it easy. And we don't have these, but that's our maximum size for a lobster. So anything bigger than that, a carapace, you can't keep.
It's basically a model for fisheries management. Back in the mid-90s, the stock was in a serious decline. The stock is now in a stronger position than it's ever been. the numbers of legal-sized lobster that are being monitored by our scientists are the best they've been in 50 years.
Strong science now underpins the fishery, which moved to quota in 1994 to arrest what had been a serious decline in stock. Fisheries scientists now conduct their own survey catches. They also monitor recruitment by catching baby lobsters or puralists twice a year to predict future numbers. Licensed fishers like Pat Richardson must also tag every lobster and record everything caught, including undersized and oversized crays that are not kept. Stocks are so healthy, the department will increase the recreational take on August the 1st from 2 to 3 lobsters per day. Mark Cranstone says the industry supports the increased bag limit, but it wants more information about the size of the recreational catch.
All I'd be wanting is better data on the recreational catch, so we have a really good idea on their actual catch.
How would you suggest they'd gather that?
Well, in other states we've got tagging programs for the recreational. They've actually moved now to an online reporting system.
Recreational fishers and divers must tick a box when they apply for a licence to indicate if they're catching lobsters. The DPI says it surveys some of those fishers every 2 years. It estimates the non-commercial catch is about 19 tonnes a year.
We do that survey through a telephone diary survey, and then we do what we call a wash-up survey afterwards, which is to go and sort of check what we got in the first survey. So they're estimates of the recreational catch, and it's using a nationally developed technique for doing recreational surveys, which is used everywhere else in the country. And although they're not exact numbers, they're robust estimates.
There's a handful of fish coming along there now, coming in.
Besides catching lobster, Pat Richardson is in a beach haul crew.
Yeah, okay then, as long as it's coming out good. See ya.
His father Tom is the spotter. Their main target species is mullet, but out of season the prized catch is bream.
Preferably bream, but probably ladrick, mullet might come along, salmon. Could be anything, but mainly here to catch a feed of bream. And they'll come along the edge of these rocks. You won't see much of them until they pan out onto the sand, and then you get a look at them that way. Yeah.
You've been doing this for 60 odd years. Do you still get excited at the anticipation?
Always, yeah. Yeah, that's payday.
Pat Richardson reckons having a licence to catch more than one species is key to the sustainability of small fisheries such as the eastern rock lobster.
You really sort of need to fish a lot of different fisheries just to try and make it work in New South Wales. You can't really rely on one fishery. Like, just perfect example is the lobster fishery, you know. If everyone put all their eggs in one basket, you know, they'd be in a bit of trouble now. So we are lucky we've got, you know, we're multi-endorsements, and yeah, we can do other things.
What are they worth a kilo?
Oh, depending on the market and how much is on the market, but say, $10 to $20. This time of year, maybe a bit lower, about average of 10.
At 32 years of age, he's the youngest in the crew. Commercial fishing is an ageing industry, and he reckons the cost of entry makes it difficult to attract new players.
There's not a real big incentive for young fishermen to come through. Like, I'm sure it's a great job. I'm sure a lot of people would like to, young people, but it's really hard to get into. Like, to buy into it now, it's, you know, you're looking at $500,000, you know, and the rest, and then plus gear, and you've really got to have someone to teach you. It's not a game you learn overnight.
Pat Richardson's family has been fishing the local beaches around Port Stephens for close to 100 years. His grandfather, Bill, helped pioneer commercial fishing on the mid-north coast. He reckons the importance of having generational history in fishing cannot be underestimated.
Yeah, there's a few families that around here that are generational fishermen, which are pretty much the same, similar to us. But yeah, they've been doing it a while and they sort of build themselves up, and that's where they are today. That's why I'm pretty lucky to walk into an established fishery.
With its sustainability in good stead, Pat Richardson is confident prices will come good. He's in the Eastern Rock Lobster fishery for the long haul.
I grew up with it, and I did other things first, but I sort of gets in your blood. Yeah, it's something, once you do it, you just can't really do anything else. And, I don't know, it's freedom, you're on the water. It's a hard way to make money, but I think it's a good way to make money, Yeah, and I love it.